Okay, so let's begin with another vanilla. This time it's going to be AOT Sanctuary Com. Yeah, of course, the original name of RTS Sanctuary. That is Avely, aka Negator. And else against him it's going to be Mythology clan StarSky. Or should be pronounced StarSky, but I always pronounce him StarSky, so I'm going to be probably continue with that, even though it's obviously wrong. So you're going to be therefore having the Isis as the goddess of choice, currently for Negator, and he's going to be starting with a pretty decent hand, some weird wood lines, and in general it's going to be 2 gold spawn, so therefore that's something that usually does favor the Egyptian. Otherwise this was played on 3rd November 2004, so about 2 years after release of the vanilla. This is still vanilla, therefore not Titans. I just therefore need to be switching the background. There we go, into vanilla. And let's therefore have a look also from the opposite point of view. StarSky is going to be therefore having what? Also gold mines. You can see both of them are going to be behind the base. As you can see, I'm still clicking for a possibility of a new villager to be made. You're probably gonna be hearing that quite a bit. But let's probably turn off the fog of war to have some further appreciation on how the map gloriously spawned. Look at the gold mines. So basically they're gonna be on the left side, 2 in favor of Avely. So a lot of food here as well. Serious lot of food. On the right side that's gonna be another couple. Now the gold mines are definitely better for Avely here. No questions asked at all. The TC is also somewhat weird here. Potentially even for the trade it's kinda strange. If you're gonna be starting trade somewhere from the bottom here for StarSky, then you can expect all kinds of trouble because of this weird promontory which is gonna be forcing the trade caravans very close to ice, so therefore easier to raid. It's gonna be quite a bit of a challenge in that way. One relic is going to be what? Bow of Artemis, not bad, with the discounts on the archers, on the charioteers possibly, and on the other side Guitar of Apollo for village speed. Really pretty actually cool ones, both of them. So some really good upgrades in general that the players can be getting. No, goats are not gonna be of course finding anything all that important here behind the base. There's on the left side that's gonna be just the Ulfsag scouting what's up, and he's gonna be already probably having some general idea that this map is gonna be somewhat stupid on the gold. Right now he's coming back just to maybe see if there's some further hunt, or even where right now the gold is going to be, and he's gonna be ready. No, should be scouting a bit more carefully, because this is exactly like a space where the gold mine could still be, and right now he could be just kinda like missing crucial information. We know that he wouldn't, but still kinda good practice to be paying attention to those details. Otherwise just basically 1 extra hunt for each of the players. You can say it now, there's therefore caribous, and that's... Oh no, wait a second. There is actually another group of caribous I just didn't see before. I thought for a moment there is berries, which it aren't. This is a kind of disgusting map for Degi. Completely safe second TC. We are not in Titans at least, so it can't be like 2 TC fast heroic. But we do have gold mine number 1 and 2 somewhat okay. Next to towers, that's not entirely too terrifying. That is a pretty terrible granary. Like, that's straight horrible. Like, why the hell would you be building granary here when you know where the animals are? Why is it not there?
Rig.
Like, what? What kind of positioning is this? No, but whatever. Only 1 polar bear, so that's not gonna be too actually useful for the hunt. For the Norse, sure, he could be taking it somewhere. Where is even the bear though for him? Yeah. No, that's not too great position in general. Yes, of course, currently Negator is gonna be all over the place with the obelisks, as you would be expecting. And we should be therefore already starting to advance somewhat soon. I'm kinda slightly curious what's gonna happen here, if it's gonna be some classical fight attempt by AOT Sanctuary, or if he's gonna be trying to go for just a classic fast heroic. Should be probably having enough food for a normal fast heroic, but it obviously depends if StarSky is gonna be advancing fast enough to disrupt him or not, and he's gonna be 5 minutes in. It's not like the fastest, but I guess it might be enough. No, I can see he's going for the second granary. I actually think it might be, maybe it could have been a plan from the start to be having first granary here for this kind of like couple or triple, and then the second is gonna be coming for the next part. But frankly, is it really worthwhile? I would be kind of doubting that, because it's taken a lot of time. A lot of time to even build it. You can say not the idle time here also. Oh, Jesus Christ, that's horrible. That really did not help at all. And wow, look at... Aha. Now I'm fairly surprised. He's actually gonna be making even the new granary here for just that one caribou. Okay, so maybe actually he really was building it this way because of the consideration of the granaries. Now that's unexpected, but okay. We see something like that in today's meta also a bit. Not entirely that seriously, and very rarely, but sometimes people are gonna be doing that. But really, not too common. But he was obviously going for that a whole lot more seriously than I really kind of thought. But I can see straight cavalry for the Thor. Yeah, well, that's kind of like the classic gameplay against the Isis. You want to be doing that for some level of map control, and for that, for AoT Sanctuary being through. Are they going to be the barracks? Probably should be. Even though the resources... Ah, maybe actually not. Maybe he is going... No, maybe. He is going there for the straight 1 TC. With the 2 gold mines, it's gonna be a whole lot easier to achieve. Because obviously this one is gonna be somewhat... Not like gone, but he's gonna be able to drop there for the Migdol, probably to protect the left gold mine somewhat. The right one is gonna be... Maybe could be just producing some short wall here. Even though there's still the risk of forest fire, it's not entirely too terrible. And at least you'll be there for forcing the power, if you be having that part of the map walled off. But yep, Heroic Age is gonna be coming. No, and therefore, of course, there's gonna be force drop into the food, and we're gonna be seeing some, well, simply dangerous play with the Ancestors and Eclipse as standard. Right now, the question is what he's gonna be doing, because he's moving in all kinds of funny direction. For, like, what exactly? Getting killed? How can I be actually surprised they are gonna be the cavalrymen coming up? That's quite a bit of a terrible moment currently for Negator. No, so they didn't... I'm thinking this didn't actually go according to plan. But hopefully it's not gonna be too much of a serious loss of time or effort or anything along those lines. You can see down left is of course on the way. Blockage of the god powers. Due to the position of the monument, it's actually a fairly nice spot. Gonna be there for blocking god powers basically from the whole base. It's evidently built that way, which is something that players today are kind of like largely ignoring. Not too many are conscious of the god power blockage, and therefore taking the monuments as such as a fairly important part of their gameplay. No, and of course the prosperity, you can see it's not even empowering during the prosperity. 3 villages there, 10 villages on the left side, so the numbers are certainly in, with even the pickaxe, but the empowerment, the 20% extra, he's gonna be foregoing that, which maybe you could be thinking that it's a shame, because you're gonna be talking about definitely 100 to 200 resources or something like that. But he's needing to be dropping the Migdol apparently quite a bit more aggressively as a bit of a trap. Entirely all that advisable to be staying there. But for example here to the south, there's a whole lot better raiding in 3 places at once by StarSky. Nicely done. Nicely done indeed. But yeah, well, while that is possibly nice, of course this is even nicer, because it's gonna be resulting into not like turbo save gold, but definitely a lot safer, especially against the melee units like the cavalrymen. Siege works, cavalry archers, the chariot archers, yet everything going somewhat well. And apparently even just the goat here is gonna be the last target. It's gonna be taken down. 3 horses for somewhat nothing actually being removed. Probably could have been a bit more careful in their StarSky.
Into you.
Probably and possibly. Not gonna be having any upgrades yet. Military-wise, we are gonna be having what? Or the economic, sorry. Hand axe and pickaxe. On the other side, we have seen the pickaxe earlier. And that seems like it's gonna be so far for the time being it. Nothing really new here, at least yet.
You need to.
Yeah, right now this is actually more of a challenge. Because when you think about it with the autocue, that's making the Egyptians even easier. Because if you're gonna be having autocue on the Migdol, then you obviously don't have to be going there every 6 seconds to be making new charioteer. Or like regularly. Whereas if you're gonna be on vanilla, then the creation times can be maybe actually even exacerbating idleness somewhat. Because obviously the units are not entirely cheap, but at the same time they also get made incredibly quickly. So the autocue here is really mattering in these types of cases even more. Obviously the most relevant the autocue is going to be in late game and for villages in the early stages, like in the further monuments to block the god powers again. So I'm wondering, no, I mean like at this point he's gonna be blocking possibly forest fire here, in case he was having some buildings around here a bit more. Or, of course, a bit later, could be blocking there for frost. Just in case Skadi is gonna be chosen, but frankly it looks to me it's gonna be more like Bragi. Yep, that's definitely feeling more like it in the old schooly ways. And right now it's just gonna be depending therefore if it's gonna be utilized in normal fighting, or if maybe there's gonna be some attempt to advance even into the mythical age for Balder possibly. Okay, it wasn't actually too much of a bad battle for StarSky, but frankly looking still at the survivors and the further reinforcements coming up, it's also not entirely that much of a great victory. 61 pop limit for Negator. StarSky is gonna be at 82, so quite a bit higher up. Kinda curious if he's gonna be taking at least some of the villages and go for the hunt. In my opinion, he should. Because currently he's controlling the middle of the map pretty well. So I'm thinking he'll be able to just kinda gather there without that much of a hindrance. Thinking it's a legitimate way how to continue with this game. Can see nothing really more on the military, at least so far. But he's gonna be having some secondary army right now, MMC. A representative. But only if he's gonna be actually able to get into the fight in time. And currently he's having a bit of a weird path in. Would it be like if he went way more from the south? Just to kind of like block AOT Sanctuary a bit more. But nonetheless, 94 pop limit for StarSky. AOT is gonna be having 73 pop limit. But he's having also 2 million gold. Which at this point is not entirely too helpful. But maybe it's gonna be therefore resulting into the TC. Or rather, it probably should be. Even just by like 1 or 2 villages to build it slowly. But he apparently is quite a bit like overreaching on that. Doesn't need to be gathering as much. At least not now. And therefore could be either sending the villages away, or of course he needs to be somewhat spending it. And we did have the suggestion. And not like all that many other suggestions. What you of course do with that in the first place. So Ulfsak, Medium Raider, sure. Nothing else. At least currently. He's gonna be at least healing up everything. StarSky is gonna be at 1 away pop limit. It's not really too bad, but as you can see, he's not entirely ready for anything else so far.
Yeah?
The plow right now needs to be in research as soon as possible. And unfortunately it isn't so far being even clicked in, even though he's kinda like close on the resources. He should be definitely finding the investment quite a bit worthwhile, because currently he doesn't need to be in any kind of army. Further at least. But maybe it could be resulting into like copper shields, looking at the rest that he has. Because like getting into Imp or the Mythical Age from this position, I'm really thinking that it's all that necessarily necessary and needed. Of course the shields.
Yeah?
And also the plow, by the way. And that is still away, right? Of course there is. Yeah, so that's the classic case of unfinished wall, or rather wrongly positioned wall here. Unluckily here for StarSky, but it seems like it... Why is he not biting? Like, why wasn't he biting with such an army? Could be just like easily going through and massacring all the villages. Huh. Yeah, it's a bit like unnecessarily careful, I guess. Okay, finally he's going back to hunt, even apparently taking the berries. It's gonna be very good granary into the middle of the bushes. As it seems like we're gonna be taking a bit of a break. No, at this point we're gonna be getting ready for the Ancestors and Eclipse, together with also the flame weapons. So it's gonna be interesting to see who's gonna be possibly getting to cast his own first, and how. And no, frankly, do you as an ISIS want the opponent to be casting flame weapons first, or do you want to be getting your push first? Sorry for the move, sorry. If you're gonna be having kind of like the Ancestors first, and he's gonna be having flame weapons on them, then the Ancestors die kind of like really quickly. On the other hand, if you're gonna be having flame weapons against you and you don't have Ancestors anymore, then that's also a problem on your own. So I guess it's probably gonna depend on some personal preference and development on the battlefield. Now, usually kind of flame weapons are maybe even a bit scarier than the Ancestors. So you probably need to be choosing where the flame weapons are gonna be like mattering to you a bit less, which would be with Ancestors cast, because you'll be somewhat blocking them at least. So maybe simply AOT Sanctuary wants to be keeping his chill and keeping them until gonna be having an actual fight. Okay, medium raiders with double copper upgrades, heavy infantry even right now for StarSky. Can see it's gonna be damn well ready for the fight. Slightly curious right now on the economical units. Let me have a look before the fight actually engages. And it goes on. 48.52, not entirely the highest. Considering 15 minutes, you can certainly imagine that could be somewhat higher here and there. But it's still not entirely on the level of what he has seen in the first game between StarSky and the Fire. With Ancestors in, you can see right now cast it pretty damn quickly, so no flame weapons therefore, which should be therefore resulting into solid control of the gold. And in the meantime, there is still the second in the base, so it's not like a death sentence for StarSky. But it will be definitely tough if AOT Sanctuary manages to hold on to this, or maybe even drops a Migdol nearby. So of course, Ansis are gonna be properly owning on the pop limit army. That's to be expected, with another TC right now finished for StarSky. It's gonna be maybe a bit of a disappointment for AOT Sanctuary, aka Avely. It's gonna be at least having that one square of a break, or how to, probably somewhat of a square between the TC and the farms of inefficiency. But he's probably gonna be able to take down this TC fairly okay and easily. You can say now 2 siege towers still done. And it's gonna be really somewhat hard to be even going in to help it. And also in the first place you don't entirely have that much of a possible assistance for StarSky, who is at 120 pop limit. AOT Sanctuary is gonna be at full 153. Right now even exactly 154 for the Isis, with actually double Scorpions. As a good combo. So if he can be somewhat holding off from the Scorpions, the Hersirs, obviously this is going to be quite a good result for the Egyptian, and he seems to be right now heading exactly into that direction. As on the pop limit, AOT Sanctuary is holding it pretty high all the time here. As military wise, Copper Mail. Where did those villages come from? Why did they come from the left side? Not sure, but they were probably looking for some, I don't know, Migdol there. And in the end, this one is making good sense. This one does make sense as opposed to possibly some of the previous games. Because he's gonna be effectively blocking the access to this town center through the mountain. And therefore this one would be nice. Maybe on top of the hill, but really not making that much of a difference now. But feels like that right now. Negator is gonna be fairly confident that this is Maybe a bit of a game important moment, but currently with the Charioteers he's gonna be able to quite nicely hit and run. And he can say now flame weapons and just kinda straight engage in, not entirely being afraid of it. We either win or we don't. Interesting is that he's maybe staying still with the Charioteers, but I guess it's because he's not entirely attacked too seriously on them. Because otherwise I would be imagining some slight hit and run in. Wow. Flame weapons didn't entirely do too much, did they? Yeah, and therefore that's where StarSky has to be right now giving up the game. No, and Isis is gonna be getting the victory for herself. And it was also out of gold here, so that was another strong reason why to already call it a game. Whereas on the other side, of course, the control of the gold there. Still one in his home base, kinda rest of it, another one in the front. Now frankly the map was challenging for StarSky. It was better for AoT Sanctuary, for sure. But let's have a look on some upgrades at the end. Can say that nice copper and even bronze mail against the Norse, the most important upgrade with double copper upgrades also for StarSky, so he wasn't necessarily too far behind with all the upgrades. And on the other side it doesn't look necessarily too seriously better. Just Adze and also irrigation. Okay, so let's have a look on to post game, where we're gonna be right now discovering still the score not entirely being too different. Military wise 500 still more. 700, that will be there for 2-2 without 8. So 1400 resources more for StarSky. That's fairly negligible. At about 18 minutes of game, or how long was it? 18, 19. It's not that much. Of course, still the Norse is gonna be keeping up there. But 49 versus 75 villages. Yeah, all the extra TCs for AoT Sanctuary just paying off. And yeah, well, the military count quite a bit clear. No, Ancestors and Eclipse. Quite a clear power of those. 6-minute advance, 5-minute for StarSky. I mean, like against the Egi, I guess sure. Getting a bit better economy behind it all. Obviously you can't be getting the second TC, which is somewhat making the 1 TC fast heroic stronger for the Egyptian. Because you can't be countering with that much better economy. Second TC obviously just kinda kicks it into overdrive, your echo. And with only 1 town center you kinda are forced to try and get some kind of map control. So really the balance is way different. The second TC in the classical age really did change the game a lot. With Titan 755, not the fastest one, but still not bad. Below 8 minutes. No, and some Valkyries and Scorpion Men, especially the Scorpion Men were having a good effect near the end. And I guess GG.